get going. Gotta catch those runners taking off like a Boeing. If the volume spikes, then it's time to trade. Mighty 90 setting up, it's time to get paid. Navigation trading on the mic, time to get focused. We don't need any indicator, hocus pocus. It's all about the price, just watch it move. Manage your risks so you don't lose. First hour of trading is all we need. Focus on the patience and forget about greed.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's day trading live stream, Tuesday, March 10th. S&P futures down 7, NASDAQ up 7, Russell down 9, and the Dow down 66. So all pretty muted overnight. Gold is up 2.5%. Silver's up 6.5%. So metals on the move higher again. Notes and bonds and yields pretty flat. 10-year yield is down about 0.5%. Oil's down another 6% after that huge reversal, back around $89 a barrel. Natty gas down 2.5%. Soybeans, wheat, and corn all within plus or minus 0.25%. Euro and the pound are both up a little over 0.5%, and Bitcoin up 2.7%, back above 71,000. VIX contracting, so even when the S&P was down, the VIX has kind of been contracting. It's down over 3.5%, taking some more of that juice out of the premiums. Reading at the freeze was 24.57. So with the VIX contraction, no 1 DTE today. I would like to get on a 10:13 DC time machine fairly early. I'm going to watch price action for a little bit, but I'd like to get that on early and then straight into the day trades. Not really much of anything for news today. Scheduled news, that is. Existing home sales at 9 a.m. Central, but that's yellow folder, shouldn't be much. And then we've got CPI tomorrow pre-market. Do have the Navigation Trading Show later today at 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern. Good morning, everyone. I'm also on day 2 of my bone broth fast. So I'm not hungry though. I'm really not. It's been 24 hours. So not quite into the hard part yet, I don't think. All right, we got the opening bell in about a minute. Biggest movers pre-market on individual stocks. I've got HIMS is up another 8%. Rivian's up 4.5%. Oh, that'll help. That'll help my wheel position. Cryptos are up. MSTR Coin, Circle, Hood. QCOM is the weakest I have on my board. It's down 2.25%. PayPal's down. Apple's down almost 1%. No real big movers, though, this morning. There is the bell, and the S&P just pushed into the green. NASDAQ as well. For a couple of seconds anyway. Kind of bouncing around unchanged. Got some chip stocks on the move higher. NASDAQ pushing now up to previous day high. So chips and cryptos are both kind of strong so far, pre-market and then into the open. Big banks are all a little bit green. Google pushing up to pre-market high. Tesla pushing above previous day high up to its pre-market high. Meta also pushing up to its pre-market high. Chris shows the expected move, according to TOS, a little over 50. The VIX calculation shows 53.61. Oh yeah, MU's pumping as well. MU and AVGO both strong. Russell just went green now. PLTR tried to go green and got rejected. Google's kind of rejecting. Tesla's staying strong. I'm gonna load up some 1DTE calls in Tesla. I would trade the 405s. All right, so Tesla pulled right back to pre-market highs, getting a little bit of weakness coming in. Cryptos are kind of coming down, Bitcoin dipping. Russell's staying strong. Keeping an eye on Tesla. Right around that previous day, or that pre-market high level. AVGO coming back down. Amazon dipping. I'm also going to load up some AVGO calls. And that would be the 1DTE 350s. Intel acting super strong. MU super strong. Tesla dipping a little bit below pre-market highs now. AVGO, little bounce off of its previous day high, which is also pre-market highs. All right, Tesla kind of dipping now. S&P dipping. NASDAQ, yeah, everything's kind of pulling back. NVIDIA trying to get back in the green. MU and Intel are both really strong. Google's still holding up a little bit. A little rejection off of pre-market highs. Same with Meta. Microsoft weak. AVGO is holding. AMD dipped, it's popping back up. SMH staying strong overall, mostly due to Intel and MU, it looks like. PLTR still rejecting. MSTR just went red. Bitcoin coming down. AMD, nice dip and pop. All right, seeing some dips getting bought up here. NVIDIA just went green, nice pop. Chips are strong. AVGO is not keeping up with some of the strength. It's holding that level, but not showing the strength of some of these other chips. Bitcoin coming down hard. Oh, there goes AVGO. Now the chips are popping. IWM rejected, back in the red. NASDAQ holding up the best of the three indices. PLTR breaking through pre-market lows. NVIDIA trying to push to highs of day. Google trying to get back above pre-market high. In NVIDIA, I'm going to load up the 1DTE calls. I would do the 185s. I'm gonna take Nvidia, the 185 calls, right off of previous day high. Dipped below, nice reclaim. It's kind of reacting off that. See if we can get an extension higher. Chips are overall strong. Tesla trying to creep back up to that pre-market high. Nvidia still just chopping around that level. Google rejecting, Amazon coming down, Microsoft still weak. Indices coming down. Nvidia is holding up pretty well so far, but don't want to see too much weakness come in here. All right, Nvidia dipped a little bit, but getting bought up back above that level.
Order partially filled. Order filled. Order filled.
AMD strong. AVGO dipped again, but popped back up above previous day high. Intel still pushing. MU still strong. Need this market to overall to hold up. It's starting to act a little weak. Oh my gosh. I bought shares of Nvidia. I didn't buy the calls. Oh my gosh. Oh, there it goes. I bought 40 shares instead of 40 contracts. And there it goes. I didn't see it on my DOM, and I was like, where's my order? Wow. All right. Well, may have missed that one. Well, nice pop in a lot of the chips. AVGO retested previous day high. Nice pop. MU still at highs. AMD, nice pop. SMH staying strong. Intel, another pop with volume. Nvidia had a decent pop. Well, hopefully you guys got some contracts on Nvidia, unlike me. AMD, big reversal. Real quick little dip. Bitcoin trying to bounce a little bit. MSTR still weak. I guess I'm just going to get out of these shares. I made $6.91 on those shares. Big winner. Don't know that I've ever done that one. Amazon, nice rebound after being weak early. I'm going to watch Tesla here. It's kind of trying to reclaim its previous day pre-market highs. Watching Tesla, the 405 calls. I'd like to see kind of an impulsive little push above pre-market high in Tesla. A little bit of momentum anyway. NVIDIA still climbing. AVGO just pushed new highs. Watching Tesla. Google kind of rejecting again. Thanks, guys. I appreciate all the support and silver lining on my screw up. That's nice of you guys. All right, Tesla did not reclaim pre-market highs. Meta just kind of chopping. Microsoft's still pretty weak. Google's another one that if it starts to get a little bit of momentum up, I may be interested in. Google would need to be the 3-day options. I would trade the 310 calls. AMD's little reversal, trying to get bought up a little bit. MU is just all up almost 5% on the day after starting just a small green. Tesla, pretty healthy rejection there. All right, I'm watching Goog on the 310 calls. If this little dip can get bought up again with a little bit of momentum above pre-market highs. NASDAQ pushing above previous day high. IWM back in the green. S&P kind of lagging. Oh, Tesla popped back up. All right. Watching Tezzy. Watching Tezzy. Watching Tesla. All right, I'm going to take Tesla. 405 calls. Filled at 441. I am in the option contracts this time. I am in calls, not shares.
Order partially filled. Order filled. Order filled.
I put my first profit target at 520, which is a little bit above highs of day. I'm going to bring that down to 510. See if we can get another little pop right up to highs of day. That should hit. NVIDIA is still holding strong, if anyone's still in that. AVGO, another pop. Goog rejecting. Tesla just needs another little tick up. Filled at 510. All right, now let's see if we can get some legs here, Tezzy. Q's kind of rejecting previous day high. S&P remaining a little bit weaker. Google back in the red now. Seeing a little weakness. Bitcoin's bouncing. MSTR back in the green. Rivian's up 9%. Big move for Rivian. Tezzy pushing. I'll put another profit target at 610. I'm going to move that to 590 to take some more off. Another little push-up should hit it. NVIDIA is now pulling back. Meta back down. AVGO, a little reversal. Chips showing a little weakness coming in. Q's still rejecting previous day high. IWM staying strong, pushing above highs of day into the green. Be back in 1 minute. All right, Tezzy had a little dip, but trying to get bought up here. Amazon back in the red. Microsoft staying weak. S&P almost down to lows. Tesla definitely showing good relative strength here. Indices coming down, a lot of stocks coming down, and Tesla is pushing. That is what you want to see when you have long calls, my friends. Now, if this thing starts to get really weak, probably going to pull it down with it, but NVIDIA rejecting back down to almost down to unchanged. So the chips, a lot of the chips kind of reversing. Big reversal in AVGO, AMD back down. Intel, which was super strong, is coming down. PLTR cracking a new low of day. Good exit on NVIDIA for me. Thank goodness I booked that $6. It's coming back down. Did anybody take NVIDIA? Probably could have hit at least one, maybe two profit targets, I would think, before the reversal. Jonathan W., nice. Did you hit a couple profit targets? Didn't work? Huh. Why not? Did you not get at him enough? Yeah, well, that happens. Happens to the best of us. Tesla trying to crack a new high of day. MSTR back in the red. Bitcoin dipping again. S&P ticked through lows. So did NASDAQ. Russell staying green. Need the market to kind of have a nice little bounce. Tesla should take off, I would think. S&P almost down to pre-market lows. Tesla could not make that push through highs, kind of dipping now. I don't want to give too much back if this market's going to continue to get weak. Still holding strong relatively to a lot of things, but like I said, if this market still starts to get really weak, even the mighty Tezzy may not be able to hold up. Also, from a little higher time frame context, looking at Tesla, I was looking at this pre-market. You know, yesterday had that really nice flush of that key level from back on that November 14th low, flushed that with the big bounce like everything else. And then, so I was looking for potential continuation from Tesla. So it was definitely on my radar pre-market. And it's, doing what I had hoped it might. Kind of dip, everything's dipping now. S&P pushing down to pre-market lows.
Order partially filled. Order filled.
Need some buyers. Where are the buyers? Where are my buyers at? Let's see if S&P reacts off pre-market lows here. PLTR super weak. The war's over, PLTR. You're going back down, I guess. Banks are kind of acting weak. Bank of America just bounced back in the green, but Goldman and JP Morgan are both red. All right, Tesla's dipped, trying to get bought back up again. Let's see if we can get some momentum back through highs. S&P and NASDAQ trying to get bought up. Russell staying green. Well, I was hoping for a little bit of a bounce to start the day to get some of the premiums sucked out to add a 1013 DTE, but now we're coming down, so vol's kind of getting pumped, so I'm going to wait on my time machine entry. NVIDIA heavy into the red, Microsoft through lows, Netflix through lows, Google back in the red, Amazon back in the red. Tesla dipping more than I'd like to see. It's right back down to that pre-market high level. See if it can hold here. Bitcoin back down to previous day high. Microsoft heading to previous day low. S&P still trying to hold that pre-market low. Kind of want to add here in Tesla, but I'm going to watch Tesla for a potential add. It's going to be either an add or a cut. We'll see what price action does here. NVIDIA popping back up into the green. Yeah, MU still holding near highs. Tesla's starting to bounce off that pre-market high. Nice bounce in the S&P and NASDAQ. I'm just going to hold here in Tesla. No add at this point. Nice bounce in Goog. Nice bounce in Meta. Yeah, Tesla not showing the relative strength now with this bounce coming in. Chips aren't really bouncing too well either. AVGO still coming down. AMD still coming down. Intel still coming down. Nvidia, it's bouncing nicely, but Netflix still weak. Microsoft still weak. Meta weak. And Meta's just kind of choppy, I guess. Watson's F-bombing Google over here.
Order filled.
AVGO back down to previous day high.
Order filled.
Yep. NASDAQ rejected going green. All right, seeing some weakness come in now. All right, I'm gonna cut my Tesla. Filled at 416 on those remaining ones. Nvidia back in the red.
Order filled.
MSTR back through lows. S&P down to lows. Let's see here. Two monster winners this morning. Nvidia for $6.91, Tesla for $314. Microsoft pushing below previous day low. S&P is down 34 points and the VIX is down 2%. Netflix down to previous day low. S&P back down below that pre-market low. Tesla's still coming down. Nvidia's trying to bounce back up. Nvidia's kind of leading that bounce better than the indices. A lot of the chips bouncing. Still got the 185 calls in Nvidia loaded. Watching Nvidia here. Let's see how it reacts on this push back through previous day high. All right, I'm going to take Nvidia. It's the 185 calls, got filled at 117. S&P holding above pre-market highs, pre-market lows again. Same with NASDAQ. Let's see if they can hold here. I like the relative strength in Nvidia on this short term. See if Nvidia can get back up to highs of day. Put my first profit target at $1.30 in Nvidia if it can pop here. Apple pretty choppy, still within its first 5-minute range, but trying to get back up. Tesla still coming down. It's almost back down to previous day high, which is lows of day. Do not want to see the indices reject here and start flushing. Anil's rooting against me. By the way, Anil, I have not loaded that thing you sent me. I'm going to do that today. A little dip buy up in Nvidia. See if we can get some momentum here. MU's holding strong. It's still just chopping right under highs of day. SMH trying to hold above previous day high. Intel, which was super strong early, has been coming down. Russell is super choppy. I mean, it's basically within its first 5-minute range almost. Peaked out of it a couple times, but bouncing back up, trying to go green again. Definitely some nice relative strength short term here within the last 10 minutes in NVIDIA. Let's see if it can continue. Relative strength versus the indices, also relative strength versus a lot of these other chip stocks.
Order filled. Order cancelled. Order partially filled.
Yeah, I was getting ready to look until
Order
I got
filled.
involved in NVIDIA, but let me hit a first profit target here and then I'll try to check it out. I wanted to do oh, nice bounce. I wanted to wait for a little bit of a more vol contraction to get into a 1013, but I'm looking at a 7.8. I was getting ready to check my strike selection, see if I had what I had available. Looks like my strikes are clear. Clear for takeoff. That would put the longs on FOMC day. So so the contango, the risk graph is not going to look good. Just FYI. Because we got some contango. But the longs should hold well with FOMC approaching. NVIDIA almost to the point of hitting my profit target if it can pop just a little bit more. Profit target's at $1.30. It's trading at about $1.25. Come on, Invid. You can do it. Apple about to go green. Highs of day. Nice bounce in Amazon. Ooh. S&P and NASDAQ popping. Okay, there's NVIDIA. Filled at $1.30. I can't believe you doubted me, Anil. Why would you do that? Why would you ever do that? Yeah, I mean, don't you know? Don't you know about my crystal ball? One of these days you'll learn. One of these days. One of these days you'll start following my crystal ball instead of all your indicators. All right, I'm going to put another profit target at $1.50, which is right at pre-market highs. I'm going to do $1.45, a little bit under. Tesla could never regain a back above pre-market highs. It just tried but got rejected again. See if NVIDIA can extend through highs of day, pre-market high. S&P, NASDAQ just went green.
Order filled.
All right, I'm going to NVIDIA about to hit my profit target. All right, I'm going to see where this bounce goes. Getting some nice vol contraction now, so I'm going to go back to my 1013 on the DC time machine, most likely. There's NVIDIA, 145 filled. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Watson's revenge trading Google. He's reinforcing bad behavior because he just hit a profit target. Nice pop in Amazon. All right, in Vid's getting some legs. Still, yeah, we'll see what it reacts here at pre-market highs. Kind of a little pause right there. It's also coming up on the top of this this green line on my chart is the kind of the top of this consolidation zone, which is the high on March 4th. Oops. All right, so I've got 6 lots left in NVIDIA. Apple going green. Yeah, you got to be careful with these double calendars in this environment because, after that announcement yesterday about the war potentially coming to an end, I mean, the premiums are just getting sucked out. So personally, I would stay away from this week's expirations. That's why I'm looking at stuff in next week because they're much less sensitive to the vol crash.
Bulletin received.
They could still feel it, but definitely not as sensitive as expirations this week. The other thing, next week's are also going to stay bid because FOMC's on Wednesday too. Tezzy's still coming down. Not participating in the bounce. NVIDIA making another run. Nice pop. Pop, pop. All right, I've got 6 left. I'll take 4 off at $1.70. Just below that level. S&P, NASDAQ moving. Russell now above previous day high. So far on the daily chart on SPX, it really just looks like a little retracement of yesterday's move, and now we're going to extend higher. Especially the way volatility is just getting absolutely destroyed. VIX down 7% now. And the S&P is still tiny red. Hondo riding NVIDIA. Anybody else? Yeah, there's that comment posted from Trump saying the war is over, and then later comments were, well, it's not over. We're going to continue destroying them, but it's kind of over. They basically can't defend themselves. Med flies in NVIDIA. Apple pushing. Nice bounce of Meta. Amazon, nice bounce. SMH back to highs of the day. MU, another leg higher. Anybody take MU? Would have been hard to catch that first leg, but on this little consolidation, hold, pull back, little trend line break back up, could have been a nice one. Oracles tonight. Yeah, I'll check that out. Check that out in Power Hour. I'm going to move my profit target in NVIDIA down to $1.65. Another little push should hit it.
Order filled.
Amazon going. Nice pop. Is Trump talking? Doesn't look like it, but market's feeling good, it looks like. These contracts in NVIDIA really aren't moving that well on this last 5-minute bar that pushed. Trading at $1.64. My profit target's at $1.65. And it kind of pulled back. Yeah, so I'm going to go with the 7-8 DTE today. I'm afraid the Friday-Monday combo is going to get crushed with the volatility doing what it's doing, but the 7-8 should hold up a little bit better.
Order partially filled. Order filled.
NASDAQ above previous day high, Russell above previous day high, S&P is trying to get there. NASDAQ made a new high. Let's see if it can hit. Filled 165. So I've got 2 left. And I'll just try to squeeze a little bit more. I'm going to be out of it at this level I have marked, which is at about 184.75. So I'll just try to get out of those at $1.75. How about $1.72? Joey, you entered the 7-8 about 10 minutes ago, still at break even? Yeah, nice. Yeah, those following week, the next week expirations are pretty forgiving on pretty sizable price moves. I mean, I took a loss on that 3-4, but that was A, shorter term, and B, yesterday was obviously a monster, crazy 3 sigma move. I also took a loss on the 11-14, but small. NVIDIA 172 and out. All right, all. I'm going to wrap the stream here. I'm going to start working some orders on some DC time machines, and we'll post those as soon as I get filled. We'll see you in Power Hour. Everybody have a good day. Cheers.